Hi. So I just made a website that helps you track job postings that are fake. Um, Other people can submit to it. You can submit to it. I'm working on an authentication process for all of that. But more importantly, I built it live from 0 to 1 to get to a first working prototype. Um, However, in the live recording, my mic was not working, and so there is no audio. So the remainder of this video is going to be a voiceover, kind of talking about my entire thought process as I was proceeding through this, and I'm hoping you're going to find it insightful. One thing I do also want to point out is that this is a full uncut version. If you want the cut version, there is a shorter version of this where it's just covering the highlights. You can click off to that, it's going to be in the description. Alright, so to start out, I like to open up Claude and get a rough idea of what I'm trying to get done first, right? And so here you can see me typing in a prompt telling Claude that I'm going to be building a fake job postings website, and I have a few different ideas in my mind of how I might want to proceed with this, and you're going to just see them in a second. But the major thing that I'm trying to do here is just confirm with Claude what is maybe the right way to move forward, right? Um, you're going to see that I have a few different options. One is to build this locally using Cursor or Codex and then launch it that way. Another way is using Lovable or V0 or Replit or any of those and go that way. And then the last option is not really a way to build it, but it's the way to enhance the UI. And I can still do that in the future. I haven't done that at this point, but I will use Figma to enhance the UI if I feel like Lovable or Replit or even Cursor and Codex are not giving me what I want. But you can take a second to look at the rest of the prompt now. Now, towards the end of this prompt, you're going to see me ask it an additional question, and that basically entails in relation to what is the right way to proceed in relation to having companies on my websites versus recruiter names for privacy reasons and so on and so forth. That's just something I'm adding at the end of the prompt, and I'm going to go ahead and send it through now. It's going to take a couple seconds. All right, so you can see here it started to kind of give its response back. It's recommending a couple of different things. What it's recommending is the best strategy forward is to go with, I think, Lovable here. The reason why is Lovable already has some of these tools for authentication and cybersecurity built in. It's saying that option 3 really wasn't a real option. It's just something that I could do, which I already knew. And then lastly, it's also just calling out that it's probably better for this version to go through with companies rather than actual recruiters. There are rules behind that, and that's something that I can maybe think about for a future version of this, as I would have to probably talk to legal consult. But for this first version, the best way to proceed is most likely just having company names, as there's a lot less restrictions around that. So here we do decide that the core product will be focusing on companies rather than recruiters at this time, and that gives us good direction and prioritization of where we want to move forward with this. You can see me just prompting now exactly that and trying to determine the best direction forward. over here you can see that it's created kind of a very early prototype of what it could look like even within the Claude UI. And I'm just taking a look through it at the time and saying, hey, does this kind of capture everything I want? Are there any changes that I might want to make before I proceed forward? And so I'm just going through this process in my head right now. So you can see here that it's pointing out something very important, that this whole system could be gamed on day one if there isn't any confirmation and or approval or authentication system in place to confirm that something really is a scam job posting. And so I actually do agree with it. It makes a lot of sense to have that into place. We need it before launch. Some more context here is the very first version of this for testing will be by me, and so it might not be needed for that version, but I will be opening this up to a small product management community that I work with as my beta testers, and we definitely will need it before that. And after that, I will see how we will be scaling this moving forward. And so you're just going to see me enter that in the prompt in just a couple of seconds as I'm explaining my thought process here, and we'll go from there. Additionally, you can see that with this authentication system, I would like to have a ban hammer kind of put into place where if someone is caught submitting a job posting that is real, there should be an investigation of some sort done, but then they would be restricted from the system and being able to upload any more job postings moving forward. And I just submitted that prompt. It's going to basically tell me that it agrees with me. I review that, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, give me that prompt. Let's go and start to build this in Lovable. Here I'm just reviewing its request, which is to give it a name for the website that I'm building. It'll just be easier in the long run. So I gave it the name JobWatch. It's recreating the prompt now that I'm going to be plugging into Lovable. I'm just reviewing the prompt to make sure it makes sense. These data endpoints do make sense to me, and so I'll be proceeding forward after this. Copying and pasting this into Lovable, and then we're going to let Lovable do what it does. So copied and pasted over that prompt. It's starting to work on building the website for me. Here it's asking if I want to enable cloud. I had to kind of review this a little bit because it was a little bit confusing. It's saying those things can't be changed later on. Turns out it's just where it's going to be coming out of Americas. That's something that cannot be changed later on because I didn't see a need to enable an LLM on this at any point for right now, at least. Alright, so you can see here that it finished working on uh, the website. The website honestly looks pretty good to me. I'm not gonna go ahead and uh, build anything out in Figma at this time. So just me playing around with the website, seeing what's available there. I think I'm gonna also tap into the back end here and just see what it has built out. It's asking me to set up authentication and whatnot, and so yeah, just playing around to see what it does. Here you can see that the backend does exist. It's asking me to create an authentication role. Not something I'm focused on at this exact time. I will be doing this before launch and setting myself up as an admin. But I did ask it in the prompt to see if we can set myself up as an admin, and uh, we'll see what happens. We decided not to go that route, at least for this current MVP and where it stands. And here you can see that I'm going to go ahead and test the system out now. So I have this company named Tanisha Systems who has reached out to me multiple times. They are very well known as scammers on Google. And so going ahead and plugging them into here, there's already some changes I can see. As you can see, it's asking for LinkedIn optionally there. I can expand that to just have the email more up front, but I'm just going to go in and fill out the rest of the form here. So this was a quality of life improvement that I just kind of wanted to make quickly. It's really annoying to have to upload screenshots when you're going through a process like this. I decided to just, it's going to take a minute to allow it to copy and paste things into there instead of having to upload every time. Now, unintentionally, it also just removed the upload function altogether. I'd rather have both, and at a future point, I'll go back in and add that back in there. But yeah, this is a quick example of how I was able to just improve something on the fly. This is the copy and paste function working, and so yeah, pretty quick improvement. Nice little quality of life change. Yep, so I entered my email there off screen, and you can see that it says the report has been submitted successfully. What I'm doing now is just waiting to see if any sort of confirmation will pop up in my email. And now here you can see that I am checking to see if I got any email confirmation, and I did not. And that is because I have not set up a website domain or an email domain in relation to this, and it's going to ask me to go ahead and do that right now. This is something that I learned that I might need to do for future projects, in this video, but I'm also just checking the back end to see if the data is there. There is data there for a job, for the job that I had just entered. So something is wrong here in my head, and just trying to figure out what might be going on. I try to set up a domain pretty quickly here. However, I came to realize pretty quickly that this is going to be a whole process that I'd rather do off screen, that might involve just more sensitive information, and so I decided to skip that for this MVP, at least for a test where it's just me, myself, submitting something and seeing if it returns it. So then what I decide to do here is to temporarily disable the email confirmation and authentication system. I just want to see that the information I entered on the back end, well, through the form, has hit the back end. And I know it has, but I want to see that it's going to be reflected in the front end from these browser reports. So yeah, that's exactly the prompt I'm working on right now. And you can see after it's worked on it for a little bit, the information that I entered does show up, which is great. That means the intake system is working, it's putting the information in the back end, and then it's also spitting the information out on the front end. So I'm hoping that this in the future is going to help a lot of people be protected from fake job postings. And if this was of any help to you, then please subscribe and follow for more.